welcome. I am so excited to share about the book which has influenced me a lot. Learn more about how child learns. What is the secret to learn fast? As Alvin Toffel said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Today, I am going to share you about the book which is very important for teachers and parents. Know how child learns. How child learns. The Psychology of Learning by Dr. Jagannath Gond. In this book, he has elaborated the psychology of learning. There are 12 lessons are there. We briefly know one by one. In chapter 1, he has explained the meaning and the nature of psychology. Every teacher is confronted with the problem of individual difference in the classroom. It describes the meaning and the nature of psychology. An attempt has been also made to describe the characteristics and meaning of learning. According to Crow and Crow, educational psychology describes and explains the learning experience of an individual from birth to throughout the old age. Skinner defines educational psychology is the branch of psychology which deals with the teaching and learning. Stephen says educational psychology is the systematic study of educational growth and development of a child. Psychological principles are used in formation of curriculum for different age. Attempts are made to provide subject and activities in the curriculum which are in conformity with the need of the students, their developmental characteristics, learning patterns, and also need of the society. Following are the important characteristics of nature of educational psychology. It is an applied branch of fundamental psychology. It is combined with the two field, education and psychology. It is the scientific study of human behavior in educational situation. It is concerned with these factors, principles, and techniques which related to the various aspects of child's growth and development. It is concerned with the learning situation and process by which learning can be more efficient and more effective. Five major areas are covered in educational psychologies. They are the learner, learning process, and learning situation, and teaching situation. Evaluation of learning performance, and the teacher. Followed by in chapter 2, he has shared the methods of studying psychology of learning. In this unit, the author has described the important method of studying psychology of learning. A brief review of the development of methods will be helpful for you to understand the importance of subject in the greater perspective. Here, he has elaborated the only following methods of study of psychology: that introspection method, that's our observation method, and experimental method. What we mean by introspection? The word introspection is made up of two Latin words. Intro means within, aspe- aspection means looking. Hence, it is a method where an individual is looking within oneself. It is a process of self examination where one pursues, analyzes, and reports one's own feeling. Introspection, being self observation, has the following characters. The subject gets direct, immediate, and intuitive knowledge about the mind. Second, the subject has actually to observe his own feeling, mental process. He cannot speculate about them. It is considered an unscientific and not in keeping with the psychology, which is recently emerged out as a positive science. However, we may say that it is still being used. Psychologists and thought it is a supremacy is undetermined. And third one is observation method. Reader, we have observed so many things in nature. Observation literally means looking outside oneself. Facts are collected by observing our behavior of the individual in order to locate underlying problem and to study developmental trend of difference. Students process observation in the four aspects. That's observation of the behavior, recording of the behavior observed, analyze, interpretation of the behavior, and generalization. The essential guidelines for making a good observation are observation one individual at a time. It is desirable to focus attention on just one individual at a time in order to collect a comprehensive data. The purpose of observation should be clear to observer before he or she begins to observe so that the essential characteristics or the behavior of a person fulfilling the purpose can be noted. The third one is experimental behavior, experimental method. Experimental method is the most scientific objective method of studying behavior. In this method, which is responsible for assigning the status of science to psychology, the experimental research is described, analyzed what will be, what occurs, under the what characters are controlled. Experimental are always conducted in laboratory. Hence, laboratory is very essential. Psychological experiment. In this method, the essentially require two people. The experiment are a group of experimenters who perform experiment. Other is subject on whom the sub experiment is performed. Followed by in chapter 3rd, author has described about the growth and development. In this chapter, the concept of human growth and development are explained. The stage of development and characteristics of each stage have also been discussed. The principle of development and their importance and the need to study the scientifically have been discussed. Adolescence is a period of transition between childhood and adulthood. During this period, adulthood are considered neither a children as an adult. Their status remained uncertain. They are prone to rebel against the authorities. What, as a teacher, we can do to attend these problems? How how we can help the development of a balanced personality of our student have been dealt with in order to create a better understanding of the development. In chapter 4, author described the way of learning. According to Gates and others, learning is the modification of a behavior through experience. Henry P. Smith says learning is an acquisition of new behavior, strength, and weakness of the old behavior as a result of experience. Crow and Crow says learning is the acquisition of habits, knowledge, and attitude. It involves a new way of doing things. It operates an individual's attempt to overcome obstacles and to adjust a new situation. Skinner says learning is the process of progressive behavior to adaptation. According to W.R. McLaw, learning has the following characters. Learning is a continued modification of behavior, continue throughout the life. Learning is a pursuit. It reaches into all aspects of human life. Learning involves in the whole person, socially, emotionally, and intellectually. Learning is often a change in the organizational of behavior. Learning is a developmental. The different type of learning we are having, learning has been classified in many ways: informal, formal, non-formal, or individual or group. In another classification involves the types of activities are motor learning, discriminational learning, verbal learning, concept learning, sensory learning. Learning is a process. It carried out throughout the life. A motive or an attractive goal or a block to the attempt of a goal. So, followed by in chapters 5, the author elaborated the different learning theories, the meaning and concept of learning, the motive behind the learning are ensured. That's a fundamental knowledge of educational psychology. Learning before actually advancing the other concept. In this chapter, helps us to understand the characteristics and the process of learning and the learner curve. The theories of learning are a different ways, like instrumental or operational conditioning of B.S. Skinner. It mentioned the two major types of response: the relevance of a reinforcement as well as punishment to the student's learning. Thorndike's theory says the fundamental learning is association between the sense impression and impulse to action. Other word we can say stimuli and responses. The theory stress readiness and exercise and effective as the conditions for learning. In classical conditioning theory, formulated by Alvin Evan Palver, and the basic tenet of the theory is that behavior of or an organism can be manipulated using some environmental factor. The key relevant theory to the learning is a practice of one task before moving to another. Encourages the use of motivation for effective learning. We learned about the meaning of transfer of learning, the theories of transfer of learning, and classroom implementations of transfer of learning. Followed by in chapter 6, author explains the different factors affecting learning. We also discuss how maturation contribute to the learning, the various strategies teachers can employ to keep the attention and give a clear perception of the students in the teacher learning activities. He also described a definition, types, and theories of motivation, which has been given an understanding how to motivate the students in classroom. Fatigue is an important factor that influences the learning process. We focus on remove the different which creates a hindrance in order to have an effective learning. In chapter 7, our author explained about the mental process related to the learning. Psychology deals with the study of mental process, which includes how people think, pursue, and remember and learn. Thus, the concern with internal process such as thinking, memory, imagination, and reasoning. Thoughts, a capacity to think, was at one time held to be not only in the most distinctive characteristic of human nature. The great philosopher Descartes had said, I think, so I exist. Employing the thought is a very essence of human existence. Thinking is a mental activity in its cognitive. Thinking is a reorganization of concept. Thinking is a mental exploration of for finding out the solution of a problem. The thinking has a different types like convergent thinking, divergent thinking, critical thinking, reflective thinking, literal thinking. Literal thinking helps to individual to develop skills to increase the productivity, ideas output, design the future, find a fresh, a new solution to intractable problems, escape the constraints of routine thinking. Author appreciate the diversity of thinking among the team members, plan and lead the innovative meetings so that deliver powerful results, finding a new area of opportunities. So in chapter 8, author explained about the memory. What is memory? According to Gulford, memory is the retention or storage of information in any form. Memory is constant in learning what was previously learned. The power that we have to store in our experience and to bring them back into the field of consciousness sometime after the experience have occurred in term as a memory. Memory has a different types like immediate memories, short-term memories, long-term memories. The phenomena of memory may be studied under different aspects. There are four R's are there. One is like the registration of learning, second is retention of learning, recall of learning, recognition of learning. Memory can be improved, but the depth of trace or retention is difficult to improve by practice. The reason behind being the trace that are made depend on the genetic or inheritance. Retention, however, can be measured in the different ways, maybe like a recall, recognition, and relevant. Thinking is a pattern of behavior in which we make use of internal representation as a symbols and sign. A thinking even for the solution of some specific and purposeful problems. We think with the help of percept, image, or objective or concept, symbols, or the languages. Thinking can be convergent or divergent, critical or reflective. Memory is the ability to retain and, and reproduce the message. The retention can be measured in a different ways. So registration is done through rote learning to the memorization. So forgetting is a part of memory. Imagination is a passive, idle time, active based on the experience. Imagination can be reproductive and productive. Productive imagination can further be creative or imitative. Reason is that we can purposefully goal. In chapter 9, author explained about the personality. In the child-centered education, child has been given a outermost important. A child's personality play a major role in teaching learning process. Personality is often misused in the describing outer appearance of the person. It covers inner as well as outer look. Attitude, aptitude reflect in the type of personalities. The importance of mental health, the role of school and teacher is important personalities that adjusted and discussed in the chapter. The personality is the whole individual considered as whole. Personality is a term has been used very widely, but each time the meaning is different aspect of a person. Every society in every school take a profound interest in the development of the personality of a child. At first, the word used for the mask worm by actor to change their appearance, but later on it began to used for the actors themselves. In such a case, the term personality has been used to depict outer appearance and external behaviors. So this emphasizes the growth and development that are in genetic or endowment. In chapter 10, the author elaborated about the intelligence. Intelligence is the mental trait which expresses itself in a various form. It is an inborn natural power. It helps a man in learning things and solve the complicated and comprehensive problems and situations. Intelligence can be measured in different type of intelligences as an individual, as a group, verbal, non-verbal, and performance a different type of tests of an intelligence. Intelligence is measured through complicated process which involved a compressive and establishment of a relationship between the chronological age and mental age. So intelligence tests are used to solve the educational problem with the help of intelligence test. Occupational, social, and personal guidance can be easily furnished. These tests, however, require to be used with great care and only by the expert in the field. In chapter 11, author explained about the creativity. Intelligence of a person help him to think rationally and deal effectively with the environment. But individual difference from one another is amount of intelligence. So creativity is a very important process for the progressive and major advance is every field. All the advances are made as a result of new ideas, creative process. It is the basis of the entire social development and new innovations, discoveries in the field of science and technologies. Creativity is the result of some interactions. Creativity is the ability of synthesize the ideas. It is the ability to create new ideas, theories, and objectives. Ability to develop something original. The process of creative thinking involves some specific and definite steps like process preparation, verification, identification of a creative individuals is essential. Their background allows them to constructively create. A different type of creativities test they are used in educational situation are part of this unit. In short, this unit mainly gives an awareness of the parents and teachers and elders about their role in promoting creative among the children. In chapter 12, the author concludes by a group dynamic. When two or more people coming together, it is known as a group. A group is in which people come together, attain a common goal. The relationship among the member are interdependent. Thus, unit thus coming together for a specific purpose. A group is characterized by the leadership, interdependency, coherency, conformity. A group dynamic means the change of a behavior through a interaction in the group. It refers to the force which operate in the group situation. It study the structure of group and each phenomena that emerge as a group interaction. There are different stages in the life of group: a forming, storming, norming, performing, mourning. So individual behavior in a peculiar way when there are member of crowd as they in the grip of collective or a group mind. So cooperative learning is in the instructional use of small groups so that students work together to minimize their own as well as each other's learning. So learning play a very important role. The author concludes by saying that in his books, our learning is a dynamic and learning is a group activity along with an individual efforts. The author explained in very simple way even a common man can understand and implement the learning process for upgrade themselves to compete a modern world to succeed. For more details, please do read and review this book. The link is given below in the description. Thank you.